The Burgundian army was always strong, reliant on shock infantry, long-range archers, and the Royal Lancers that used to have a 20 bonus against cavalry. Now, the Burgundians are, in my opinion, a perfect example of how the Creative Assembly likes to release DLCs. So you have one unit, or two units really, that are essential and overpowered as balls compared to what you get for other factions. Now, in terms of shock cavalry, Royal Lancers and Barb Lancers were the only units that previously had a bonus against large in the shock cavalry department. Now there are quite a few units that have this, and the Barb Lancers and the Royal Lancers were nerfed heavily. The Burgundians got Burgundian Guard as a general's options, comparable to the Viking Axe General. Very strong on the charge, but once again, see a please. Why does he have a melee attack of 20? And he's basically given good armor and good weapons to units, to men that can't swing their axes worth shit. They have a much lower melee attack than the Burgundian Axman, which is kind of funny. If you gave Burgundian Axman armor, they would be more than twice as adept at using their weapons as the Burgundian Guard. Then we have the Royal Burgundian General. He is a heavy shock cavalry general. He has a good charge bonus, great health, great armor, very strong shock cavalry unit. The bonus of 30 versus large begins here on the Germanic Spears and the Germanic Spearmasters. Again, price reductions across the board. Except for the Scattershot hurlers that luckily got cheaper because they were at 180 and they overperformed massively compared to other hurler slinger types. Then we have the elite Scattershots really need a price reduction. They are super prohibitive at their price. Then we have the Barb Skirmishers and the Barbed Javelin Men. Now these units will absolutely melt cavalry. They have the missile damage of 80 here, but it can be boosted significantly using precision shot, and so can the Barb Skirmishers be boosted. Not going to mention what's happened to the Germanic Horsemen. You know it by now. Noble Germanic Horsemen, very nice. Burgundian Mounted Axemen suffer from the same problems that any cavalry unit that doesn't have bonus against large do, and their health is very low for the price. Extremely low, in fact. For shock cavalry, we have the relatively cheap Barb Lancers. Good armor, good charge bonus. The Royal Lancers, very, very, very strong shock cavalry. 10 bonus against large now. And they can manhandle many melee cavalry units in the game. And of course now Tagmata don't stand a chance, since the Tagmata were hit with the sledgehammer of Nerf. Germanic Mounted Brigands, Germanic Raiders, useless. So let's have a look at a Burgundian army that is decent. Royal Burgundian General, I would bring that together with the Brace. Then you can either go for a Lancer Corps or a Noble Germanic Corps, a Noble Germanic Horseman Corps, but I quite like a combination of the two. It's going to be expensive, but with the elements in particular, you can do this. So this is going to be assuming you have a maximum of 8 cavalry once again. To support your cavalry fights, you can bring a host of Burgundian Axemen, and these units will melt infantry and they will do a lot of damage to cavalry. So if you first charge Royal Lancers with their fare, charge into a cavalry unit, and you're able to support with Burgundian Axemen, it's going to be able to take care of most supporting infantry, and it's going to be able to take care of the cavalry in devastating fashion. So this is a core that I quite like. Now, of course, this army is vulnerable to enemy missiles. So, and you don't really have the funds to bring a lot of missiles yourself, since you've gone very heavy on the cavalry. So this is a very rush-centric build, and it's possible to make it cheaper and less vulnerable to missiles. Something that can be a bit unexpected and can be effective is to bring in a lot of these Germanic bows. And what these Germanic bows are going to do is that they're going to be in front of the army, and they're going to be screening these Burgundian axes, the Noble Germanics, be running up front, taking fire. if they don't get fired upon, then they can lay down a lot of fire themselves. So this is a slightly unorthodox, but it can be very, very fun to play with as the Burgundians. So in terms of the Burgundians, the Burgundians got nerfed pretty hard in patch 2, because the redeeming feature of the Royal Lancers, their 20 bonus, got removed, and a lot of other units now have the 10 bonus. They are still a very good shock cavalry unit, and they can be used very effectively in tandem with noble Germanic horsemen, and especially together with the Burgundian Axman, and if you choose to go a bit cheaper on the cavalry, together with some Germanic archers as well. So with the Burgundians, you're getting the essential Germanic core. However, you're getting very, very cheap, super cost-effective shock infantry. I'm tempted to say they are the most cost-effective shock infantry in the game. And then you get very solid cavalry, and you have the option to go with really strong skirmishing anti-cavalry capabilities. So the Burgundians, they are definitely a strong faction in patch 2, but true to form, they are weaker than they were at release. When the DLC hit, then they get nerfed. So that seems to be a theme, but still a very good, very strong faction. Strength and honor.